So, what's new in September 2024? Hello, welcome to What's New, the series where I find as many fantasy books as I can that are releasing in the upcoming month and let you know what they are. With all that said, let's just go ahead right into it. So on September 3rd, we have Riftborne by Bree Grenwich and Parker Lennox. He was striking in a cold-blooded kind of way, like his beauty was tinged with poison, unassuming, alluring even. I brought my eyes up to meet his. Via Riftborne? The word stripped from his lips like blood from a dagger. 20 years after a rebellion branded her an outcast, Via Riftborne navigates a city rife with prejudice so deep it's often deadly. But she harbors a secret, one that would paint an even larger target on her back. A hidden power within her is growing, threatening to destroy everything she's built for herself. Enter the elusive Sidhe General Lyric Ashford, who is building a unit of powerful wielders within the Guard to face a growing threat. Wraiths of darkness devour the western border, leaving a trail of death and destruction in their wake. When Fia's power erupts and two daughters of nobility are seemingly dead, General Ashford offers her a chilling choice. Join the Sidhe Guard or face execution. Because Fia might be the only hope for the Isle's survival. Torn between surrendering to the chaos or becoming a weapon for those who took everything from her, Fia must confront her growing feelings for the General and face a dark truth that could shatter everything she's ever known. Then still on September 3rd, we have The Monstrous Kind by Lydia Gregovic. Merrick Darling's life as daughter of the Manor Lord of Sussex is better than most. Unlike the commoners, she is immune to the toxic fog that encroached on England generations earlier. She will never become a phantom, one of the monstrous creatures that stalk her province's borders. And as long as the fires burn to hold them back, her safety is ensured. She wants for nothing, yet she will never inherit her family's manor. She must marry smartly or live at the kindness of her elder sister, Essie. Everything is turned on its head, though, when Merrick's father dies suddenly. Torn from her new London society life of ball gowns and parties, Merrick must travel back to her childhood home, the Darling estate of Norland House, and what she finds there is bewildering. Once strong and capable, Essie is withdrawn and frightened, and with good cause. A recent string of attacks along the province's borders has turned their formerly bucolic countryside into a terrifying and unpredictable landscape. The fog is closing in and the fires aren't holding, which makes Merrick and Essie vulnerable in more ways than one. Because the phantoms are far from the only monsters in Merrick's world, and the other 11 manor lords are always watching for weakness. Revealing her and her sister's current state to the rest of the manors is out of the question, but when Essie goes missing, it's clear that Merrick needs help. Only, who can she trust when everyone seems to be scheming, and when all she holds true feels like it's slipping right out of her grasp? Then we have Shadows of Perl by Elle. Unleash the darkness, claim your power. Quell Marion's explosive final rite of induction to House Marion sent shockwaves through the magical world, unearthing long-buried secrets and her own deadly power. But she paid a steep price. Her family and her love. Fleeing Chateau Soleil from her House of Perl, where once Quell is celebrated instead of shunned. She has finally found somewhere to belong. But secrets lurk in every house, and Quell's quest to find her mom threatens to lead her deeper into the shadows. Assassin Jordan Wexton, second in command of the Dragon Brotherhood, must protect the source of all magic, the Sphere. Yet the biggest threat of the Sphere is Quell Marion, the girl he loved until she claimed the deadly outlawed Shauna. As the Sphere cracks and war brews among the houses, can the only way to save the world be to kill his own heart? Now these two lovers turned enemies must confront their competing ambitions and conflicting loyalties, or die. The future of magic hangs on their decision. Then we have The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. The gods love to toy with us mere mortals, and every 100 years we let them. I have never been favored by the gods, far from it, thanks to Zeus. Living as a cursed office clerk for the Order of Thieves, I just keep my head down and hope the capricious beings who rule from Olympus won't notice me. Not an easy feat, given San Francisco is Zeus's patron city, but I make do. I survive, until the night I tangle with a different god. The worst god, Hades. For the first time ever, the ruthless, mercurial king of the underworld has entered the Crucible, the deadly contest the gods hold to determine a new ruler to sit on the throne of Olympus. But instead of fighting their own battles, the gods name mortals to compete in their stead. So why in the underworld did Hades choose me? A sarcastic nobody with a curse on her shoulders as his champion. And why does my heart trip every time he says I'm his? I don't know if I'm a pawn, bait, or something else entirely to this dangerously tempting god. How can I when he has more secrets than stars in the sky? Because Hades is playing by his own rules, and death will win at any cost. Then we have The Fallen Fruit by Shawntelle Madison. On a rainy day in May 1964, history professor Cecily Bridge Davis begins to search for the 65 acres of land she inherited from her father's family. The quest leads her to uncover a dark secret. In every generation, one offspring from each Bridge family unit vanishes and is mysteriously whisked back in time. Rules have been established that must be followed to prevent dire consequences. Never interfere with past events. Search for the survival family packs in the orchard and surrounding forest. The ribbon of the packs designates the decade the pack was made to orient you in time. Do not speak to strangers unless absolutely necessary. With only a family Bible and a map marked with the locations of mysterious containers to aid her, Cecily heads to the library, hoping to discover the truth of how this curse began and how it might be ended. As she moves through time, she encounters a circle of ancestors including Sabrina Humbles, a free black woman who must find the courage to seize an opportunity or lose her heart, Luke Bridge, who traverses battlefields, slavery, and time itself to reunite with his family, Rebecca Bridge, a mother tested by an ominous threat, and Amelia Bridge, a young woman burdened with survivor's guilt who will face the challenge of a lifetime and change Cecily's life forever. It is a race through time and against the clock to find the answers that will free her family forever. Then we have Immortal Dark by Tigest Girma. It began long before my time, but something has always hunted our family. Orphaned heiress Kaiden Adane grew up far from the arcane society she was born into, where human bloodlines gain power through vampire companionship. When her sister June disappears, Kaiden is convinced a vampire stole her, the very vampire bound to her family, the cruel yet captivating Susenyos Sagid. To find June, Kaiden must infiltrate the elite Uxley University, where students study to ensure peaceful coexistence between humans and vampires and inherit their family legacies. Kaiden must survive living with Susenyos, even as he does everything he can to drive her away. It doesn't matter that Susenyos' wickedness speaks to Kaiden's own violent nature and tempts her to surrender to a life of darkness. She must find her sister and kill Susenyos at all costs. When a murder mirroring June's disappearance shakes Uxley, Kaiden sinks further into the ruthless underworlds of vampires, risking her very soul. There she discovers a centuries-old threat, and June could be at the center of it. To save her, Kaiden must bring Uxley to its knees and either break free from the horrors of her own actions or embrace the dark entanglements of love and the blood it requires. Then we move into September 5th with The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart. In this sweeping epic fantasy comes a story of magic, betrayal, love, and loyalty, where two sisters will clash on opposite sides of a war against the gods. A divine war shattered the world, leaving humanity in ruins. Desperate for hope, they struck a deal with the devious god Klune. He would restore the world to its former glory, but at a price so steep it would keep the mortals indebted to him for eternity. And as each land was transformed, so too were its people changed into strange new forms, if they survived at all. Hekara is not willing to pay such a price. Desperate to protect herself and her sister Rasha, she flees her homeland for the safety of a neighboring kingdom. But when tragedy separates them, Hekara is forced to abandon her beloved sister to an unknown fate. Alone and desperate for answers on the wrong side of the world, Hekara discovers she can channel the magic from the mysterious gems they are forced to mine from Klune. With the discovery comes another. Her sister is alive, and only the rebels plotting to destroy the God Pact can help rescue her. But only if Hekara goes to war against a god. And on September 10th, we have Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. A magic house, a secret past, a summons that could change everything. Arthur Parnassus lives a good life built on the ashes of a bad one. He's the master of a strange orphanage on a distant and peculiar island, and he hopes to soon be the adopted father to the 6 dangerous and magical children who live there. Arthur works hard and loves with his whole heart, so none of the children ever feel the neglect and pain that he once felt as an orphan on this very same island so long ago. He is not alone. Joining him is the love of his life, Linus Baker, a former caseworker in the Department in Change of Magical Youth. And there's the Island of Sprite, Zoe Chapelwhite, and her girlfriend, Mayor Helen Webb. Together they will do anything to protect the children. But when Arthur is summoned to make a public statement about his dark past, he finds himself at the helm of a fight for the future that his family and all magical people deserve. When a new magical child hopes to join them on their island home, one who finds power in calling himself Monster, a name that Arthur worked so hard to protect his children from, Arthur knows they're at a breaking point. Their family will either grow stronger than ever or fall apart. Then we have Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. Kala Tuolemi has succeeded in the impossible. Despite the odds, she has won San Air's bloody games and eliminated King Kasa, her tyrant uncle, and the former ruler of Talon. She serves now as royal advisor to Kasa's adopted son, August Shenzi, who has risen to the throne. Only Kala knows it isn't really August. Anton Makuza is still furious about Kala's betrayal in the final round of the games. In an impossible feat, he took over August's body to survive and has no intention of giving up his newfound power. And when his first love, the beautiful, explosive Ada Avia, awakens from a years-long coma and reveals a secret that threatens the monarchy's authority over Talon, chaos erupts. As tensions come to a boiling point, Kala and Anton must set their conflicts aside and head to the kingdom's far reaches to prevent anarchy, even if the empire might be better off burning. Then we have The Scarlet Throne by Amy Leow. Binsa is a living goddess, chosen by the gods to dispense both mercy and punishment from her place on the Scarlet Throne. But her reign hides a deadly secret. Rather than channeling the wisdom of an immortal deity, she harbors a demon. But now her priests are growing suspicious. When a new girl, Medha, is selected to take over her position, Binsa and her demons strike to magnify his power and help her wrest control from the priests. She will sacrifice human lives. She'll do anything not to end up back on the streets, forgotten and alone. But how much of her humanity is she willing to trade in her quest for power? Deals with demons are rarely so simple. Then we have The Ending Fire by Sarah El-Arifi. Rebellions are like fires. Something needs to burn to make a flame. The Warden's empire is falling. A vigilante known only as the Truthsayer is raising an army against the Wardens. Scylla and Hassa must navigate the politics of this new world, all the while searching for Enor. Across the sea, the Bloodforged prepare for war, requesting aid from other governments. John's role as Major General sees him training soldiers for combat, but matters of the heart will prove to be the hardest battlefield. The Zalem celebrate the arrival of the Child of Fire, heralding the start of the final battle. Anore's doubts are eclipsed by the powers of her new god. Soon, the Zalem will set off on their last voyage, and few expect to return. Do you feel it cresting the horizon? The darkness drawing in, the shadows elongating, the ending fire comes. Then on September 12th, we have Oath of Betrayal by Olena Nikitin. She was broken, but even a shattered blade can kill. Tormented by grief and powerless after the loss of the men who anchored her magic, Anika fakes her death, seeking refuge in a secluded town. For years, she hides her identity until a chance encounter with a dragon exposes her unique power to the Lord Commander of the Dragon Riders. Even though she escapes, a yearning for a soul-deep connection with the magnificent beast haunts her dreams. When the commander tracks her down, his touch rekindles her crippled magic, making her question all she knows. He claims she is the ultimate weapon and plans to bond her to his dark fey necromancer, but Anika is done being controlled. When vampiric ghosts attack, she takes fate into her own hands, choosing to bind herself to the dragon. Hunted by the Lich King and torn between the commander, who ignites her magic, and the necromancer, who tames its roaring inferno, Anika forges herself into the weapon she was destined to be. However, the dragon's anchor is not enough when impending war and betrayal sets her world ablaze. Even if she sacrifices her soul to take another, can one conduit mage save a failing kingdom? And on September 17th, we have A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. Lorelei Caskel, a folklorist with a quick temper and an even quicker wit, is on an expedition with 6 eccentric nobles in search of a fabled spring. The magical spring promises untold power, which the king wants to harness to secure his reign of the embattled country of Brunestad. Lorelei is determined to use this opportunity to prove herself and make her wildest, most impossible dream come to become a naturalist, able to travel freely to lands she's only ever read about. The expedition gets off to a harrowing start when its leader, Lorelei's beloved mentor, is murdered in her quarters aboard their ship. The suspects are her 5 remaining expedition mates, each with their own motive. The only person Lorelei knows must be innocent is her longtime academic rival, the insufferably gallant and maddeningly beautiful Sylvia von Wolf. Now in charge of the expedition, Lorelei must find the spring before the murderer strikes again and a coup begins in earnest. But there are other dangers lurking in the forests that rearrange themselves at night, rivers with slumbering dragons waiting beneath the water, and shape-shifting beasts out for blood. As Lorelei and Sylvia grudgingly work together to uncover the truth and resist their growing feelings for one another, they discovered that their professor had secrets of her own. Secrets that make Lorelei question whether justice is worth pursuing, or if this kingdom is worth saving at all. Then we have The Vampire of King Street by Asha Greyling. Having a resident vampire is just the thing for upper-class New Yorkers. Besides being a status symbol, they make excellent butlers or housekeepers. The only thing they require in return is a drop or 2 of blood and a casket to shut out the dawn's early light. Tolerated by society only if they follow a strict set of rules, vampires are seen as less than, and as the daughter of immigrants, Radhika knows firsthand how this feels. Accused of murder, her undead client, Mr. Evelyn Moore, knows that the cards are stacked against him. With the help of a journalist friend and a diminutive detective inspector, Miss Dingra sets out to prove her client's innocence and win his freedom. Failure will mean Mr. Moore's death, the end of her dreams of becoming a successful attorney, and the loss of the vampire Miss Dingra has begun to call her friend. Then we have The Land of the Living and the Dead by Shauna Lawless. The old world will die in flames. Ireland, 1011 AD. The mortal kingdoms rise up against High King Brian Boru as they seek to wrest his crown from him. Yet the real struggle is between the 2 magical races of Ireland, the Fomorians and the Descendants, eternal enemies who both now seek dominion over the mortal world. Gormflaith, queen of King Brian, remains unmasked as the powerful Fomorian she is. Gormflaith plans to establish control over Ireland and destroy the Descendants in one fell swoop, but she cannot do it alone. The Descendants are divided, for not all their kind wish to dominate the mortals. Fodla, a descendant who was once part of King Brian's inner circle, must use the division to thwart treacherous plots that have been long in the making, even if it means sacrificing herself. But with other lives on the line, can Fodla reveal the evil in time? As secret schemes come to deadly fruition, the only possible outcome is war. Ireland has bled red and often, but the coming clash will change the course of history forever. Then we have An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. Lennon Carter's life is falling apart. Then she gets a mysterious phone call inviting her to take the entrance exam for Drayton College, a school of magic hidden in a secret pocket of Savannah. Lennon has been chosen because, like everyone else at the school, she has the innate gift of persuasion, the ability to wield her will like a weapon, using it to control others and, in rare cases, matter itself. After passing the test, Lennon begins to learn how to master her devastating and unsettling power. But despite persuasion's heavy toll on her body and mind, she is wholly captivated by her studies, by Drayton's lush, moss-draped campus, and by her brilliant classmates. But even more captivating is her charismatic advisor, Dante, who both intimidates and enthralls her. As Lennon continues in her studies, her control grows, and she starts to uncover more about the secret world she has entered into, including the disquieting history of Drayton College and the way her mentor's tragic and violent past intertwines with it. She is increasingly disturbed by what she finds, for it seems that the ultimate test is to embrace absolute power within succumbing to corruption, and it's a test she's terrified she is going to fail. And then we have Bringer of Dust by J.M. Miro. Agrigento, Sicily, 1883. With the ore sign destroyed, Cairndale lies in ruins and Marlowe has vanished. His only hope of rescue lies in a fabled second ore sign, long hidden, thought lost, which might not even exist. But when a body is discovered in the shadow of Cairndale, a body wreathed in the corrupt dust of the Druger, Charlie and the Talents realize that there is even more at stake than they feared. For a new Druger has arisen, ferocious, horned, seemingly able to move in their world at will, and it is not alone. Malevolent figure known only as the Abyss desires the dust for her own ends. And deep in the world of the dead, a terrible evil stirs, an evil that the corrupted dust just might hold the secret to reviving or destroying forever. So the dark journey begun in the ordinary monsters surges forward, from the sinister underworld of the London exiles to the mysteries of a sunlit villa in the 19th century Sicily, to the deep catacombs hidden under Paris. Against bone witches, mud glyphics, and a house of twilight that exists in the netherworld all its own, the Talents must work together if they are to have any hope of staving off the world of the dead and saving their long-lost friend. Then we have A Song of Ash and Moonlight by Claire Legrand. The old war is over, a new one is just beginning. The curse plaguing the Ashbourne and Basque families has finally been broken, but Farron, the eldest Ashbourne daughter, still struggles to find peace. Unflappable and tireless, her composure masks a seething sorrow. Since her mother abandoned the family, Farron has been their rock. Managing her father's temper, running the estate, keeping tight control over her dangerous musical power, and ignoring her own for rest, distraction, and most of all, love. In Ryder Basque, Farron's stubborn strength has met its match. The man infuriates her. He's coarse, arrogant, annoyingly handsome. He's as tired of the feuding parents as she is, and he brims with some secret anger that mirrors Farron's frustrated rage. But Farron must work with every ally she can, even the man she has been raised to hate. With every rising dawn, the middle mist weakens further. Anointed magicians are disappearing. A fiery olden creature is stalking Farron. Strange visions haunt the High Queen Vane, and as Farron and Ryder race to find stolen loved ones, they begin to realize a horrifying truth. The gods are not dead, they're waking up, and someone is hunting them. Then we have Lucy Undying by Kirsten White. Her name was written in the pages of someone else's story. Lucy Westenra was one of Dracula's first victims. But her death was only the beginning. Lucy rose from the grave a vampire and has spent her immortal life trying to escape from Dracula's clutches, and trying to discover who she really is and what she really wants. Her undead life takes an unexpected turn when, in the 21st century London, she meets another woman who is also yearning to break free from her past. Iris's family has built a health empire based on a sinister secret, and they'll do anything to stay in power. Lucy has long believed she will never love again, but she finds herself compelled by the charming Iris, while Iris is mesmerized by the confident and glamorous Lucy. But their intense connection and blossoming love is threatened by forces from without. Iris's mother won't let go of her without a fight, and Lucy's past still has fangs. Dracula is on the prowl again. Lucy Westenra has been a tragically murdered teen, a lonesome adventurer and a fearsome hunter, but happiness always eluded her. Can she find the strength to destroy Dracula once and for all, or will her heart once again be her undoing? Then we have The Lies We Conjure by Sarah Henning. Ruby and her sister Wren are normal, middle-class Colorado high school students working a summer job at the local Renaissance Fest to supplement their meager college savings. So when an eccentric old lady asks them to impersonate her long-absent grandchildren at a fancy dinner party at the jaw-dropping rate of $2,000 each for a single night, Wren insists it's a no-brainer. Make some cash, have some fun, do a good deed. But less than an hour into the evening at the mysterious Hegemony Manor, Ruby is sure she must have lost her mind to have agreed to this. And then on September 24th, we have Necrology by Meg Ripley. It's amazing what the spirit can cope with to preserve the body. My spirit is a mighty oak that just won't fall. In a fantastical aftermath of the Salem witch trials, magical women known as the Dirty have signed a contract swearing off their innate magic in exchange for freedom from violence by non-magical freemen. 200 years later, in a Catskills orphanage, headmistress Whitetail has sprouted antlers, proof of a violated contract. When her wealthy benefactor visits, proposing marriage, her appearance sparks abuse. Rushing to her teacher's defense, 8-year-old Rabbit curses the beard dead, and Whitetail's arrested on trumped-up charges. As Whitetail awaits her trial and execution, Rabbit is groomed as a Freeman's star witness and learns of the terrifying reality to which they aspire. With her magic at stake and a loose tooth in her mouth, Rabbit has little left to lose and a revolution to gain. Next we have The 13th Child by Aaron A. Craig. All gifts come with a price. Hazel Trepus has always known she wasn't like the rest of her siblings. A 13th child promised away to one of the gods, she spends her childhood waiting for her godfather, Merrick the dreaded End, to arrive. When he does, he lays out exactly how he's planned Hazel's future. She will become a great healer, known throughout the kingdom for her precision and skill. To aid her endeavors, Merrick blesses Hazel with a gift, the ability to instantly deduce the exact cure needed to treat the sick. But all gifts come with a price. Hazel can see when death has claimed a patient, when all hope is gone, and is tasked to end their suffering permanently. Haunted by the ghosts of those she killed, Hazel longs to run, but destiny brings her to the royal court, where she meets Leow, a rakish prince with a disdain for everything and everyone. And it's where Hazel faces her biggest dilemma yet: to save the life of a king marked to die. Hazel knows what she is meant to do and knows what her heart is urging her toward. But what will happen if she goes against the will of death? Then we have The Naming Song by Jedediah Barry. There's nothing more dangerous than an unnamed thing. When the words went away, the world changed. All meaning was lost, and every border fell. Monsters slipped from dreams to haunt the waking while ghosts wandered the land in futile reveries. Only with the rise of the committees of the named, maps, ghosts, dreams, and names could the people stand against the terrors of the nameless wilds. They built borders around their world and within their minds, shackled ghosts and haunted monsters, and went to war against the unknown. For one unnamed courier of the Names Committee, the task of delivering new words preserves her place in a world that fears her. But after a series of monstrous attacks on the named, she is forced to flee her committee and seek her long-lost sister. Accompanied by a patchwork ghost, a fretful monster, and a nameless animal who prowls the shadows, her search for the truth of her past opens the door in a revolutionary future, for the words she carries will reshape the world. And then last we have A Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. Dragons are extinct, witches are outcast, magic is dying. But human lust for power is immortal. Dragonfire no longer blisters the skies over Pantera, but inside the lavish palace, life is still perilous, especially for Tamsin. Raised in the glittering court alongside the princesses, it's her duty to be punished for their misdeeds. Treated as part of the royal family, but also as the lowliest servant, Tamsin fits nowhere. Her only friend is Stig, captain of the guard, though sometimes she thinks he wants more than friendship. When Fell, the beast of the borderlands, descends on her home, Tamsin's world becomes even more dangerous. To save the pampered princess from a fate worse than death, she is commanded to don a veil and marry the brutal warrior. She agrees to the deception, even though it means leaving Stig and the only life she's ever known behind. The wedding night begins with unexpected passion and ends in near violence when her trickery is exposed. Rather than start a war, Fell accepts Tamsin as his bride, but can accept the dark secrets she harbors. But can he accept the dark secrets she harbors? Secrets buried so deep even she doesn't know they exist. For Tamsin is more than a royal whipping girl, more than the false wife of a man who now sees her as his enemy. And when those secrets emerge, they will ignite a flame bright enough to burn the entire kingdom to the bone. Magic is not dead, it is only sleeping, and it will take one ordinary girl with an extraordinary destiny to awaken it. And that's it. All the new releases I found in September. Hopefully some of those seemed pretty interesting to you and you can find something you want to read. And if there's anything I missed, please drop it in the comments down below and let people know. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you in the next one. Shawntelle, fleeing Chateau Soleil. Chateau Soleil. He's the master of a strange orphanage on a distant and peculiar island. He's the master of a strange orphanage on a distant and peculiar. He's the master of a strange orphanage on a distant and peculiar island. Peculiar. With the help of a journalist friend and a diminutive in Ryder Basque, Farron's stubborn strength has melt.